All right, we are live. Here we go, guys. All right, so we are going to be writing the equation of a line, right? It'll be easier or harder depending on the type of information that they tell us about the line. All right, before we actually start doing the examples, there's just some vocab that I want to make sure you guys are all aware of. We've already talked about it, but just to refresh your memory, because they're going to start telling you certain pieces of information. You have to remember what that piece of information is and what it means to know that type of information. All right, so guys, first of all, slope, that's a big one, right? Slope, we always use the variable m. It is a rate of change. It is defined to be the change in y over the change in x, right? So it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay? All right, the y-intercept, right? That's the point where your graph crosses over the y-axis. I have told you that your intercepts are really important points because they're not entirely unknown. We know one of the coordinates has to be 0 to put you directly on an axis. So since the y-intercept is the point where your graph crosses over the y-axis and he's directly on the y-axis, we know it's going to have a y-coordinate, and then it has to have an x-coordinate of 0. And that's how you end up being directly on the y-axis. All right, if you are the x-intercept, then you are the point where the graph crosses over the x-axis, right? So you are going to be some value for x, but the y-coordinate has to be 0, and that is what puts you directly on the x-axis, having a y-coordinate of 0. So guys, please remember, because they might be telling you points that are on your line, and if they're going to try and sneak a y-intercept past you, you want to be able to recognize that. Guys, can you hold on for 1 second? My heat broke over the weekend, and we don't have heat. That's why I'm in a sweatshirt and stuff. The heat guy is calling me. Just give me 1 second. Hello? Hey, what's going on? You're fine. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Aaron. I really appreciate it. All right, bye. So sorry. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm freezing. I need my heat back. All right. So the intercepts, right? These are not entirely unknown points. They are extremely important. So if they're going to try and sneak an intercept past you as an ordered pair, you need to be able to recognize that if you see a point 0, 3, you should be like, wait a minute, that's the y-intercept. The x-coordinate is 0. So you want to be able to pick out those important pieces of information. All right, parallel lines. These are lines that never meet, and the reason they don't meet is because their slopes are the same. All right, perpendicular lines, these are lines that meet. They meet in a very specific way. They are lines that meet at a 90-degree angle, and the reason they meet at a 90-degree angle is because two things. Their slopes are opposite sign and reciprocal. So again, you're going to want to remember these types of things so that when they say our line has to be perpendicular to another line, we know that our slope has to be the opposite and the reciprocal of that line slope. You have to remember the clues they are trying to give you by telling that your line is perpendicular to another line. All right, horizontal lines. If you guys remember,
ready?
Yes.
Mackenzie has a question.
Oh, what's up? I didn't.
She did the raised hand thing.
Oh, I missed it.
It's okay. Unless she did it by accident, I don't know.
I'm checking the chat. No, I don't see a question there. Mackenzie, do you have a question?
No, I hit that on accident.
Oh, it's okay. I like it though. Testing us. Keep us on our toes. All right, here we go. Thank you, Ms. Greenhouse, because I definitely would not have noticed anyway, so I appreciate that. Horizontal lines, all right? These were lines that are straight across. They don't rise, they don't fall. They are literally straight across. If you guys remember, the slope of a horizontal line, because there's no change in the y coordinate, is always 0. So if they start saying you have to write, or they start saying that write the equation of a line whose slope is 0, you should be saying to yourself, wait a minute, the slope is 0? That's a horizontal line. And you guys already know, because you've graphed them, that the equation of a horizontal and vertical line is supposed to be very simple. Only one variable goes in the equation of a horizontal or vertical line. All right, a vertical line is straight up and down, and because it's straight up and down, there is no change in the x-coordinate. That means that you will be dividing by 0, so your slope was always undefined. So if they say to you to write the equation of a line whose slope is undefined, they're trying to tell you that is a vertical line. You are writing the equation of a vertical line. These are all things you have to be prepared for them to give you as clues. Okay. So that's kind of all the vocab that I need you guys to remember. Now I just need you to remember that there are different forms that a linear equation can be written in. There's slope-intercept form, everybody's favorite, good old y equals mx plus b. And guys, I don't know if you want to circle that or star that, but that is literally the only formula that I basically make you use. We're going to do every single problem by using y equals mx plus b, okay? Another form that we saw a straight line written in is standard form, and that was ax plus by equals c. Well, guys, the difficult thing about standard form is that a, b, and c, they don't have any special meanings like m and b do. We know that m in this form is the slope and b is the y-intercept. But guys, when you're in standard form, a, b, and c are just random numbers that end up in the equation. They're not the slope or the y-intercept. So I'm telling you right now, you will never use this formula to get started with any problem. However, depending on some questions, you may have to make your equation look like this at the end of the problem, but you will never use it to get you started. All right, there's a third form of a straight line. It's called point slope form. I'm just telling you guys right now, I don't make you use this formula at all. Number one, nobody ever remembers it. And number two, there's no need for it when everybody knows y equals mx plus b, okay? I just can't not show you. I don't want anybody saying, oh, Ms. Hardy never showed me that formula. Yes, I did. I just don't make you use it, okay? So point slope form of a line looks like this. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. It literally comes just from rearranging the slope formula, but nobody ever remembers, wait, who was x1 and y1 and who stays in the formula? So to me, we don't need it, guys. We really don't need this formula. I just wanted you guys to be aware that there is a third form of a straight line. But again, if you want to cross it out, go ahead. We ain't going to use it. We're going to start every single problem with y equals mx plus b, and then maybe we'll have to put them in this form at the end of the problem. All right, here we go, guys. Let's try some examples. All right, so the first type of problem, guys, this is as easy as it's ever going to be. If you are asked to write the equation of a line, then you are going to sit there with your fingers crossed saying, I hope they tell me the slope and I hope they tell me the y-intercept. Because if they tell you those two pieces of information, they are M and B. They literally get plugged in and the equation basically writes itself. So this is as easy as it's ever going to get if they tell you these two pieces of information. So guys, look what it says. Write the equation of a line whose slope is -1/2 and whose y-intercept is 4. Well, like I said, we're going to use this formula to start every single problem. They just told you that the m, the slope is -1/2, and the b, the y-intercept is 4. Pop them in for m and b, the equation is written. So this will be the line y equals -1/2 times x, and then plus 4. Done. I don't want you guys to think like, wait a minute, is it really that easy? Yeah, it is. Please don't think it needs to be more difficult. If they're going to tell you the slope and they're going to tell you the y-intercept, that's how easy these problems are. All right, here we go, guys. So I've just basically given you a bunch of different scenarios as to a slope and a y-intercept. We're going to write the equations really, really quickly. All right, so guys, we have to write the equation of a line whose slope and y-intercept are given. So in A, we have to have a slope of -3/4 and a y-intercept of -5. Pop them in for M and B, call it a day. Y equals negative 3/4 times x, then it's going to be plus negative 5. But guys, plus negative 5 is really just minus 5. Okay? All right, look over here. New problem. Now we have to write the equation of a line whose m is 6 and his b is negative 8. Pop them in, call it a day. Y equals 6 times x plus negative 8 is just minus 8. Nice and easy. This is how easy it should be if they tell you the slope and the y-intercept. All right, now we're writing the one that has a slope of negative 2 and a y-intercept of 1/5. I think they're hoping that you plug the fraction in for the slope and the whole number in for the y-intercept. But guys, at the end of the day, slope can be a whole number and the y-intercept can be a fraction. Just be glad they're not asking us to graph it. All right, so y equals negative 2 times x and then plus 1/5. Done. Okay. All right, look here. Now we have to have a slope of 4 and a y-intercept of 0. So m and b, pop them in. Y equals 4 times x and then plus 0. Guys, we're never going to mark you wrong if you write that as your answer, but when have you guys seen a math book put plus 0 at the end of an equation? So just remember, a math book is going to leave the plus 0 off. They're going to leave that to be an assumed piece of information. So they're just going to write this equation as y equals 4 times x. They're going to let the plus 0 be assumed. Either one, though, we would mark correct. All right, look here. We have to have a slope of 0 and a y-intercept of negative 3. Well, guys, if you remember, when you have a slope of 0, that's a horizontal line. There should only be one variable in his equation. But you could start it off with y equals 0 times x, and then plus negative 3 is minus 3. Guys, when have you seen a math book put 0 x's in the middle of an equation? If there are 0 x's, they ain't going to write it. So really, it's just the equation, y equals negative 3. All right, and then there it is. That's a horizontal line. There's only one variable that ends up in his true equation. All right, last one. You have to have a slope of negative 1 and a y-intercept of 7, right? Pop them in for m and b. Y equals negative 1 times x and then plus 7. This is not wrong. Math books don't tend to put ones in front of x's, so most likely they're just looking for y equals negative x plus 7, and they let that 1 be assumed. Either way is 100% correct. Okay? All right, so guys, I know that's probably way too many examples given how easy that is. I just like to kind of throw a bunch of different scenarios at you. All right, so that's how easy these problems are going to be when they give you the slope and the y-intercept. And I don't want you guys to miss the important information, right? So guys, look at example 3. Look what they're going to try to do to you, but we're going to be better than that. If we are hoping for a slope and a y-intercept, don't miss them telling you that information. Guys, we have to write the equation of a line that passes through the point 0, 2, and it has a slope of 1/4. So guys, we got our slope, we got our m, we're looking for b, the y-intercept. And you're like, oh man, they gave me a point, not the y-intercept. Hello, does everybody see this? The x coordinate is 0, and it has a y coordinate. If the x coordinate is 0, that is the y-intercept. So they are telling you, without point blank saying it, they are saying that the y-intercept, the b, is 2. So please don't miss it. If they're going to disguise the y-intercept as an ordered pair, you better be able to recognize that that is the y-intercept. And again, you should know it because the x coordinate is 0. All right? So that's just going to be y equals, I got a slope of 1/4 times x plus 2. And you're done. So again, please be on the lookout for when they write the y-intercept as an ordered pair, because you don't want to make this any harder than it needs to be. All right, perfect. All right, guys, give me a thumbs up if you're good so far. There's a lot of cameras off, and I'm not sure why. There should not be cameras off. Guys, unless you plan on not sitting in front of it and walking away, that's basically what I feel like you're telling me. I understand that some people have issues with their cameras. Okay, and that's fine. Just let me know ahead of time, but there is absolutely no reason for your camera to be off. Jalen, Zach, your cameras are off. There really should not be. To me, it just says you have no intention of sitting and paying attention. All right, here we go. So guys, unfortunately, you do have a homework assignment on Delta Math tonight. Delta Math does not offer me an assignment like this where it just tells you the slope and the y-intercept. I think because it's just that easy. So that's just good practice. Your homework questions are going to be on the examples on the back. So everybody go to your back of your notes. All right, so you're going to have 10 questions for homework tonight. The first 5 questions are like example 4. The second 5 questions are going to be like example 5 and example 6. And then I'm going to stop. I'm stopping after example 6. All right, here we go. So here's example 4. You're going to have 5 homework questions like this. Given the graph of a line, write the equation of the line. So guys, they're not telling you the slope and the y-intercept directly, but they're giving you the graph. So you can pick the y-intercept and the slope right off of this graph. All right, so everybody go right to the y-intercept. It is crossing the y-axis at a y value of positive 2. So we all know that our line is going to have a y-intercept of positive 2. All right, now we need to find its slope. So guys, to find the slope, I wouldn't even do change in y over change in x. Just count it. Do your rise over your run and count the spaces from one point to the next. So our slope is going to be, let's rise over run. I'm going to pick this point right here, the y-intercept, and I'm going to count to this point right here. Well, rise up or down. To get from this point to that point, I have to rise down 1 unit. I got to drop down 1 unit, which makes my rise -1 because down is a negative movement. Over, I have to run to the side, to the right, it looks like 4 spaces. So to the right 4 is positive 4. So now I know my slope is -1 over positive 4. Now again, everybody should notice the way this line slanted, this line is slanting to the left. So your slope definitely should have been negative. If you didn't get a negative slope, you should have caught your own mistake saying, wait a minute, this has to be a negative slope. I didn't count that right. All right, if it slants to the left, it's got to be negative. All right, also, you could have also picked this point to that point. Then you would have went up 1, which is a positive movement, but you would have had to go left 4, which is a negative movement. So at the end of the day, everybody's getting -1/4 as their slope, okay? All right, and just plug it in for M and B and we're done. Y equals -1/4 times x plus 2. There's your equation of the line. So guys, go ahead. What's up, Angel?
This says write it in standard form.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Angel, I'm actually, just to save time, I actually do that in this problem down here. So I'll show you what that means in this example. Like I said, Angel, you're never gonna start writing the equation in standard form. It's impossible. A, B, and C don't mean anything. You always have to write the equation in slope-intercept form first. If it asks for the equation in standard form, it just means now that you've written it in this form, now you have to rearrange it to be in standard form. But you will never, ever start in standard form. Does that make sense? You've got to write this form first. And like I'm going to show you how to rearrange it in the last example. All right, and then you would have done the exact same thing there. I didn't catch that. Nobody caught that all day today. Thank you, Angel. All right, here we go. All right, so guys, that's your first homework questions. You have 5 questions like that. Now, this is part 2. So now you're going to write the equation of a line. And guys, these are the ones that are going to take more work. They're not going to be as easy as the ones we've just done because you're not going to know your slope and your y-intercept right out of the gate. You're not going to know that information, so you're going to have to work harder to come up with these equations, all right? Here we go. So this one says in example 5, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. Well, guys, we always write it in slope-intercept form. That just means you're allowed to leave your answer in slope-intercept form, all right? It has to pass through the point 5, -4, and it has to have a slope of -3. Well, guys, I am ecstatic that they told me the slope. I want to know the slope, right? The problem is the point that they've given us, is that a y-intercept? No, because the x-coordinate isn't 0. That's just a random point that lives on our line. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get started with what we have. First things first, here is our go-to get started formula. Good old y equals mx plus b. We start every problem like this. We do know the slope, so everybody plug the slope in for m. Y equals -3 times x plus b. Man, if we just knew the b, if we just knew the y-intercept, guys, we'd be home free. The problem is they didn't tell us the y-intercept. What they did tell us, though, is this random point. They have given us an x value and a y value that live on the graph of our equation, which means these are x and y values that have to make our equation true. So what we're going to do is we're going to borrow them. we're going to borrow this x value and this y value. We're going to plug them in for x and y so we can solve for the y-intercept of our line, because at the end of the day, we need the y-intercept. All right, so we're going to plug that point in. We're going to borrow the point 5, -4. Now, just make sure you put the right number in for x and the right number in for y. All right, here we go. We're going to plug -4 in for this y right here. So it'll be -4 equals -3 times, not x, we're going to plug 5 in for x, and then we still have the plus b at the end of our equation. So guys, now the only variable in our equation is b. So we're going to solve this for b. So clean it up. -4 equals -15 plus b. The only thing we need to do to find out b is get b alone, so add the 15 to the other side. And b is 11. Guys, now it's almost like you have too much information. You have the y-intercept, you have the slope, you got some random point that lives on our line. At the end of the day, the only pieces of information we need to write the equation are our y-intercept and slope. So plug these two numbers in for m and b and be done. So y equals -3 times x and then plus 11. And then that's the equation you would type into your Delta Math answer box. All right, is everybody okay with that problem? Everybody's good? Okay, now we got off lucky because, guys, slope is normally a fraction. So lucky for us, slope was a whole number, which made this a whole lot easier to work with. Otherwise, if the slope is a fraction, you're going to have to plug a fraction in, and you're going to have to solve for b using fractions. We can do it. I just know you guys don't like it. All right, so look at example 6, and this will be the last example we do. All right, this one says, write the equation of a line in standard form. Like I said, we will never, ever start a problem in standard form. It just means at the end of this problem, we have to rewrite our answer to be in standard form. All right, our line has to pass through the point -4, 3. I'm already mad, guys, because I know that's not the y-intercept. The x-coordinate is not 0, so I know that's not the y-intercept, so I'm pissed. I know that's going to make more work for me. But I do know the slope is -2/3, but it's a fraction. So this problem is just all kinds of just annoying. All right, but let's do it. All right, so go to get started formula is y equals mx plus b. All right, we do know the slope. It's -2/3. Let's at least plug that in for m. So y equals -2/3 x plus b. If I just knew that darn b, we'd be good to go. We don't know b. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this random point again, this x and y value that they have told us, and we're going to plug them in, and we're going to solve for the y-intercept, the b. All right, so again, we're going to plug, what is it, -4, 3 in. All right, let's do it. Just make sure you put the right number in for the right variable. So 3 goes in for y. It equals -2/3 times x. We're plugging -4 in for x, but guys, I'm going to get myself ready. I'm going to put it over 1. I'm getting myself ready for multiplying those fractions. And then plus b is still left. All right, so let's do it. Let's clean it up. 3 equals, on top, -2 times -4, +8. Over 3 times 1, +3, and then plus b. Guys, the only thing we have to do to get b by itself is minus the 8/3 to the other side. So I already have 3 on this side. I need to minus the 8/3 from it. So I need to do 3 minus 8/3, and that will equal my positive b, right? I'm just minusing the 8/3 to the other side. Guys, let's let our calculator do the work, please. So let's ask our calculator, what's 3 minus 8/3? 3, subtract. I'm a big fan of parentheses. Parenthesis, 8 divided by 3. That's your calculator doing 3 minus 8/3. Hit enter. Ah, damn it. It's a really ugly decimal. You're not allowed to round, right? You have to put the fraction in. So guys, the only decimal I would allow you to put in if it was like 0.3 and that's it, no repeating, no rounding, then yeah, okay, put 0.3. But they really want the fraction. So don't panic. Every calculator has this button on it that has this like arrow with an F, it's going to take your decimal and convert it to a fraction. So if you just hit that button, it's asking you, do you want your answer changed to a fraction? Yeah, I do, please. Hit enter, and it's 1/3. Nice, done, does it for us. Okay, so B is 1/3. Guys, otherwise, I would just put 3 over 1, get a common denominator, right, of 3. That would be 3 times both by 3. That would be 9/3 minus 8/3. 9/3 minus 8/3 is 1/3. Either way. All right, so guys, we have too much information. We got a slope. We got a y-intercept. We got a slope. We got some random point. All we need is our slope and y-intercept. Plug them in for M and B. Okay. If you were doing your homework tonight, that's what you would type into the answer box, hit enter, it's going to tell you great job. However, just to show you this, because I know it's going to happen in the future, you've got to be able to do this. This problem, and technically even example 4, it looks like, they asked you to write your equation in standard form. Like I said, you'll never start in standard form. All you can do is, in the end, make your equation be in standard form. So guys, if you remember, standard form is AX plus BY equals C. It basically means X and Y have to be on one side of the equal sign, equal to a number. So guys, to put this in standard form, move X to the same side as Y. So add your 2/3 X to the left side of the equal sign. Just add it over, move it to the other side. So if I add it over, that would be positive 2/3 X plus the Y that was already there equals 1/3. So you see how you have X and Y on one side equal to a number? That's standard form. But guys, it gets a little bit worse. Technically, if you remember, when I first showed you guys standard form, to be in true standard form, you're not allowed to have fractions. So if you remember back in chapter 1, I taught you guys how to clear fractions from an equation. You have to find the least common multiple of your denominators. So guys, the denominators are 3 and 3. What's the least common multiple that a 3 and a 3 can become? 3, right? 3s can become 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. The smallest number that a 3 and a 3 can become is 3. So you just times your tops by that magic number 3, and it'll get rid of all the fractions. All right? 3 times 2 is 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2 times X. Plus Y times 3 is 3Y equals 1 times 3 is 3 divided by 3 is 1. And now that would be the answer in standard form. These are the exact same equation in different forms. They represent the exact same line. You graph them, they're going to graph the same line. They're just in different forms. If you guys solved this equation for Y, you'd end up with this equation, okay? So that's what it means if they ask you to put your equation in standard form. It just means you have to take your slope-intercept and rearrange it to be in standard form. X and Y have to be on one side, equal to a number, no fractions allowed, okay? All right, so guys, that's it. So on your homework tonight, like I said, 5 questions like this, and then 5 questions where they give you a random point and a slope. And then I think all of them are asked to end in slope-intercept, so you shouldn't have to do any of the switching to standard form, okay? All right, can I get a thumbs up if you're all right? Everybody okay? All right, perfect. All right, so Miss Greenhouse, were you able to take attendance?
Yes,
Okay. All right, then guys, if you don't have any questions, you are good to go. Your homework is due tomorrow night at 11:45. So you have today and tomorrow after school to get it done. All right. Let us know if you have any questions, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for coming, guys.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Hang out if you have questions.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
You too.
Miss Hardy.
What's up? Hold on, Jalen, 1 second. Let me just stop my recording and then answer your question.